Now, it's absolutely time to expose what and how the future world will look like, right? The digital landscape, the centralized landscape. So let's talk about it, guys. What do we see right here? Coming to a neighborhood near you. So, the NWO United Nations Agenda 21-2030 mission goals. Now, what do we have here? There's a lot to talk about. A one world government, right? There already is that. What is that? The Federal Reserve, right? The central banks. Who controls money, right? Who controls these currencies and all of these things? It's all before our faces, guys, right? Which man is governed by today? Absolutely crazy. A one world cashless currency. One world central bank, one world military. Now, all this points towards what, guys? Right? You guys can pause and check all this out. Oh my, universal basic income. That's a very fascinating one right there, right? Microchip, society for purchasing, travel, tracking, and controlling. Implementation of a world social credit system, like China has, of course, right? So it does truly seem like that's where this world is heading towards. And blockchain has a very important role to play a part of this all, right? Because it connects everything together, guys. Again, centralization at its finest, as Alex Jones basically stated, right? That's all. That's what they want. Now you guys can pause and check all this out. But someone stated something very fascinating. If you go down here, look at this, guys. Sure, but at that point in the movies is when the true resistance begins, or the Golden Gates gets crashed down. Too many gun owners in the United States that will not give them up, and good luck with the government trying. Would be a mess they couldn't handle in the end. Wow. Right? Or will they be too comfortable and nobody will revolt, guys, against the system, right? Because nobody is right now. So what tells us in the future that people will? All they need to do is bring what? Universal basic income, right? All they need to do is bring in a solution so people can get happy again. But, by the way, they're not going to be implementing all this stuff at once, right? It's going to be in increments, step by step. So that tells us this. It tells us that they're going to desensitize people slowly but surely, guys, right? Guess what? It's funny because we already have what? We already have the social credit system, basically, right? Because of the credit scores. Exactly, guys. Step by step, it begins. So it's a very fascinating talk, and we could talk about it for a long time. But we have to move on to this right here, a connection. Chinese governments are tightening the grip on Chinese people in all kinds of ways. In some cities, you have to be facial recognized right here to take the subway. Fees deducted directly from your bank account. Surveillance are basically everywhere, right? Wow, 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 guys. And then it keeps going on. This was back in 2021. So imagine now, it's just getting more and more and more. Vending machines, right? All this stuff out. I mean, oh, you know what's even crazier? I just thought about it, that the future world will be very comfortable, right? So maybe that's why people aren't going to revolt. Look how easy it is to order food, go online, get info instead of going to the library, right? All this stuff in the tip of your fingers, guys, right? So it's fascinating. It truly is. But an equivalent of that, it's what? It's your privacy, to say the least, right? And it keeps going on and on and on. So it's absolutely crazy. By the way, I'll leave the link down below so you guys can investigate further. Wow. Now if we go all the way here to this sweet perspective from Wall Street Silver, Elon Musk buying Twitter shouldn't be nearly as concerning as China buying hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland in the United States. Wait, is this really happening? China buying farmland in the United... Wow. Very fascinating, guys. What did we say before, guys? It starts in the east like a tree branch and moves on to what? The west, right? And connects everything like a spider web at the end of the day. And that's how everything will become what? Centralized. Now, besides all that, what do we have here from the Federal Reserve? They know what's coming. There's a reason all the Fed voting members sold at the top. Whoa, Fed warns of low market liquidity in $24 trillion treasury market. in latest financial stability report. Uh-oh. This sacrificial lamb will be very good for XRP because the implosion of the debt market, right? Translation, no one wants to buy government bonds and treasuries. You can't stop what's coming. The implosion of the system will correlate with XRP reigning supreme in the digital era. This is ridiculous. Reminder that members of the Federal Reserve traded stocks that the Fed was buying in 2021 at the very bottom of the market before the bull rally. Wait a minute. This is where they sold at the very market top before the Fed raised rates and were cleared of wrongdoing. Wow. They always look out for each other, right? But not for the retailers, not for the average Joes. Just look at the SEC guys, quote unquote, protecting the retailers, right? Come on now. They sold the top, right? And look what happened right after. Wow. The Federal Reserve just put up walls. Everything's fine. Because, guys, because they know what's upcoming, right? So they're shook and scared. Another thing, when the collapse truly takes place, all these people will go into hiding mode. Why? Because, come on. We're talking about a systemic collapse of the world, guys, right? The end is near. Wow. By the way, the collapse is very bullish for XRP. We already know this, right? But it's absolutely crazy because we see what's happening, guys. There's always two sides to the story. That's why we always say to keep your eye on the prize. Unusual Wills issued out this week. The Bank of England confirmed the UK is in a recession and stated that it will last longer than the Great Recession of 2008. Is the United States next? Yes, it is. If they don't pivot, right? If they don't change their tune. Why? Because let's listen to this, guys. Gregory Mannarino just posted this today. Central banks buy record amounts of gold, right? Look at this. Very fascinating. We talked about this as well.
Of course they coordinate. Now, not only do they coordinate, but you have to understand that everything that a central bank does, says, whoever they float out, it's all scripted. It's all pre-planned. Now, today, of course, they wait for the opportune moments. And just like, today, look, market started to sell off. Oh, no, we can't allow that to happen. Okay, Bank of Canada, let's come out here and just float out the story that moving forward, we're not going to be so aggressive raising rates. Look, the narrative.
You guys can see, right? They need to pivot. They need to change their tune or else the system will collapse now. And they don't want that to happen right now because the stars aren't aligned.
Is changing. Clearly the narrative is changing. To me, at the last FOMC meeting minutes, read them for yourself. They didn't sound too freaking hawkish to me. As a matter of fact, my takeaway is, yes, indeed. Moving forward, central banks, the Federal Reserve, is going to, start toning back whatever their rhetoric with regard to asset purchases. They're going to slow down. Look, we just got a 75 basis point hike out of the Fed. We got the same thing out of the European Central Bank. Next month, I'm going to tell you that I believe we're going to get 50. I think we're going to get a 50 basis point hike, and they're going to start telling you more and more. Listen for it. Inflation is getting better. Oh yes, despite what they're going to tell you out of one side of their mouth, the other side of the mouth is going to tell you a different story. So what do we find out today? Food inflation continues to surge.
Exactly, guys. So they say one thing, the other thing takes place, right? It's like the world is flipped on its head at this point in time. They either have to pause, right, the interest rates, slow it down, and then possibly even cut interest rates. Why? Because there's something's going to break, right? And they won't be able to save it. So they're going to do this until when? Right around the collapse, right? So they already have their playbook, guys. It's so funny because they don't care about the people, right? Inflation is through the roof, but they don't care. They just say, oh, we're trying to tame inflation, right? But at the end, no, they're not, guys. What they are trying to do is what? Collapse the economy. My expectations for equities this week skyrocket. CPI out on Thursday, right? Are we going to see the lower print, which will clearly tell market that inflation has topped? What do you guys believe, right? Do we believe? I mean, inflation. What I believe is this: everything is just going to go up. In my thread, I stated that, guys, right? Everything just has to go up at that point in time. Why? Because, guys, we're talking about it needs to be so bad, right? Before the collapse. And that's when the collapse surely happens. Quote, the Bank of England risks hurtling toward another bond market crisis, city traders have warned. So just weeks after a near collapse of the UK financial system, new severe stress is emerging. The global system is unlikely to survive. Run for cover, got gold. Wow. There we go, guys. Right? I don't know. I don't think the collapse happens anytime soon. Maybe in 20. I'm pretty sure it happens in 24, 25, guys, around that time frame, right? So by then, things should start going up, everything, and it's going to get so bad, right? And look at that. We are near a collapse of the, or they were, right? Imagine a global collapse. Yeah, that's how bad it's going to get. It's going to be, right? Central banks have been stockpiling gold for a while, and that's why they're buying gold, because they know gold is coming back into the play, right? A hedge. But Q3 of 2022 saw a record buying since 1967. Wait, why? And remember, it's all about these central bankers, right? That is why you must keep your eye on, guys. And look what they are doing, right? Buying gold. They bought a record 399 tons of gold worth around $20 billion in the third quarter of 2022. So let's be prepared, guys, because we know what's upcoming. It's actually so simple, right? So we'll see at the end of the day what truly happens. But I believe things shall get worse before it gets better. Let's be prepared. Not financial advice, guys. But anyways, that's hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys please, anyways, see ya.